Hello, everyone. Getting kind of tired of sending a regular email, so I thought I'd send a video email. I think I want to make this a spiritual moment most of the time, but I really just want to cover some announcements. We don't get a chance to really do that. It's not as conducive for our online services because we have people from around the world, and I want to communicate some things to the Fairfax Baptist Church family. So I had this idea. I thought, well, why don't I just create a FBC Midweek Minute, a real creative.
Excuse me, a minute? You think it's really going to be a minute?
Well, I mean, I can talk fast. I just going to take a minute of your time.
Oh, get realistic. You need to fix that.
Well, I've already started.
No, fix it, please.
With what?
Here.
Just a minute. What am I supposed to do with it's red. All right, I'm going to fix it. Excuse me just one moment, please. There, all fixed. Well, sorry about that. We have been quarantining to go get Tyler. It's day 3. Oh, we're doing good. And I hope you're doing well too. I like I said, I hope this is going to be an opportunity for maybe some spiritual input in future times. But right now, I wanted to take a few minutes just to connect with you with a few announcements, to give you some news. So for the next few minutes, probably more accurate, I wanted to just share with you an update on a few things. Many of you have asked questions. We've run into you. We've gotten emails and phone calls, and we try to touch base. And just to cover a few things, first of all, I do want to remind you that our church office is closed consistently through the week. We're not having any regular office hours. Do know that the mail, the email, and the phone messages are monitored daily, if not even more often than that. David Wellsand began as our interim office administrator last week, and he's done a really good job. We are just compensating him, and he is working on an hour-by-hour, task-by-task kind of basis. He's keeping the payroll up, and for that personally, thank you, David. He's making sure that our bills are paid and the receipts that are coming in are being properly credited. He is, again, maintaining all of our contact and things with you from the office. And know, too, that just as Laura was so good and so faithful for providing our worship bulletins and the screen that we used, all of the PowerPoint presentations, David has taken his expertise and with the limited resources we've been able to give him thus far, he's helped us with the streaming services that you have seen. Beginning with, I believe, like week 2 or so. Came in a couple of weeks, we did it on our own, and David stepped in and as he arrived in town, and it's been a really big help. So thank you, David. We hopefully we'll be able to have some more consistency with our office hours. Not that you need to get out and about, but there may be in the weeks to come before it's all said and done as part of the early phase in to have a more consistent set time, a couple hours a day or so forth, where the office is technically open if you need. But until further notice, just know that at least for the next few weeks, reach out to us. And if you need me or any of our ministry staff, reach out to your deacons. And if you're a church member, you should have, hopefully you have our church roster, and you do have the opportunity to connect with us. You have our contact information. Feel free to call and to reach out to us. Also want to let you know that even though we're not meeting and offices are closed and worship is streaming only, our Bible studies, one Tuesday night Bible study through Zoom, that is another virtual and digital world of ministry. But know that our ministry continues. Our deacons continue not just to meet, we're in communication together, but we're reaching out to our families. Know that we're here for you. Know that our board has met both virtually and in the fellowship hall. Literally sitting around, we were masked and being very careful. But we wanted to talk face-to-face at least this once as we head into a very important season in the life of our church family, which brings me to the next thing. we are aware of both the calendar and the limitations and how those two things are coming together. We do need, as a church family, to vote on our new church budget. Our fiscal year begins July 1, and also our church leadership year. That's when our leadership roster is presented to each of you. And we still need to do that. We are a nonprofit, incorporated entity working under the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, but also under the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, we're told that we can't meet. So we do have to come up with a creative way to allow you, the membership, to make the decisions of this kind of magnitude that our Constitution and bylaws call for. We also know we're not going to be able to meet at the end of June. Typically for that July 1st deadline for the new church year, we have a call business meeting for those two items, the budget and our leadership roster, the last Sunday of June. We are not going to be able to meet. I know that sounds like a far off time. I know it's about 6-7 weeks away still, but even with some of the early phases of comeback, one of the last things to arrive is going to be group meetings of the size that would be necessary for us to have a meeting. So even when those phases, we begin to hit those early days, we are going to be extremely cautious and very prudent. And we do know that we are not going to be in a position to be able to worship or to have a business meeting that last Sunday. But we do know we need to give you an opportunity to help us make those decisions. I can't give you the details simply because those details are being worked on over these next couple of weeks. But as is our custom, you will have in your hand by Sunday the 14th a copy of the proposed 2020-2021 fiscal budget for Fairfax Baptist Church. You will also have a copy of our leadership roster. With that will come a general explanation of a few things, as well as a contact information for our church leadership that will entertain any of your questions. We are going to give you the opportunity, as we've done in years past, to email our church finance team, and we'll be able to share with the church those questions or any concerns, and to be able to answer those. So you'll have an opportunity beginning the middle of June, prior to the decision being made toward the end of June. We do know that there will be perhaps a similar format to this, an individual or two or our leadership team sharing with you in a panel fashion the answers to the questions that we receive, and walk through some of the highlights for our budget. Then we will give you an opportunity to vote remotely, whether that's through email, whether that's phone call, whatever, ballot in the mail. It's going to be something of that nature or a combination thereof. We do have to make it available to everyone who is a member who would like to listen, to receive that information, to hear that discussion, and to make that vote. They'll be given an opportunity. So we are working on that even now to try to discover the best way. So suffice it to say, at this point, we are aware of the calendar. We know that that decision is coming up, and we do know that it is your decision. I will say that most likely our church budget will be simply a continuing resolution. Not much will change at all. And our leadership, we do have a few people rotating off the board and off the different committees. We'll have folks rotating on, and that decision will ultimately be up to you. It's an awkward time. It's not ideal. We are in, literally, according to our attorneys, so many organizations like ours are in a catch-22. You have to meet to make these decisions. But the same law that says you have to do that says you can't. And so we're going to find a way. We recognize that. So be patient, but be looking out in the weeks to come with plenty of opportunity, maybe even extra opportunity, maybe a week early if we can get it done, to get that to you so that you can get your questions answered. And if you want to get a kind of a preview of the proposed budget, look at the current budget. It's pretty much going to be the same. Then with that in mind, I wanted to share with you just the reality of the fact that most likely we are going to be worshiping and reaching out and ministering and connecting and studying the scriptures together in a digital way for the foreseeable future. We do have opportunities perhaps to open our office in the weeks to come. Excuse me. We do have opportunities maybe for small groups or committee meetings if people would like to do that in the weeks to come later on in the summer. But we anticipate that large groups, even our size, because of the social distancing that's going to be necessary when we arrive, we're not going to be able to pack pews. We're going to have to keep a distance and all of those protocols. It is going to be a while before we're able to accommodate or even be allowed to have groups that would fit the description of an average Sunday for us. So I hate to tell you that, but that's just the reality. There's a big question mark that is out there, and we are taking it a day at a time. And I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your support. Know that we will be back together one day. One closing thing along the same line. There is uncertainty about when we'll be able to operate in the way that we're accustomed to do so. And there is also uncertainty for schools. I know I've begun to hear from a lot of universities that they are looking for on-campus to resume in the fall, but there's still a question that is out there. And some of you have asked about Montessori School of Oakton, whether or not their schedule is changed in any way. The goal is for them, their desire, our desire is for them to arrive to begin school at Fairfax Baptist Church, our facilities, in the fall. Their summer program probably will not happen anywhere, at least the normal plan that they do. We are looking at ways to help expedite their arrival. But just like all the other schools, just like all the other small businesses, they have limitations under which they're operating, which put not only a stress for the moment, but a big question mark for the days to come. And the kids are going to continue to need school. That will come back around, and there will be maybe a new normalcy, but there will be a new normal perhaps for the fall, and we'll look forward to welcoming them. Just know that we are working with them, and we will keep you posted. Some of you have asked what the status of that was. We were so delighted just a couple of months ago. We were kicking our heels, and quite frankly, they would have probably been here by now. But then all of this took place, and just like the restaurants and just like our church, they're not able to do what they need to do. And we look forward to getting through this with them. And we'll keep you posted on anything of import in that category. I guess I just want to close out with this. We love you. Kathy and I do. We thank you for your patience. I've never pastored a church through a pandemic before. You've never been through one before, at least not in the United States. And it's a different world. We're learning some things. We're learning some things about how we can connect around the world and just around the block through this virtual world and that has been forced upon us. We are kind of enjoying trying to find new ways to connect. Know that we'll continue to do that when we get back together. As we get phased in, the thing that'll probably never change is the fact that in some way we will have an online presence with our services. We have the YouTube channel now. We will try to use that to its fullest, as well as our streaming through Facebook and other opportunities such as this. Kind of a midweek blog or a little conversation. Don't want to overload your inbox, but I wanted to just take a minute, a few minutes, I guess, and let you know how much we love you. We're praying for you, and to touch base on some of these things. Bottom line, there's a big question mark out there on all of them. We'll also let you know, bottom line, we know we're not walking through this alone. We'll continue to look forward to being together again and know that we are together nevertheless between now and that moment. We love you. Have a great rest of the day.